Hey, how's it going, you guys? It's petplatypus here, and it's time for my last Korra review for Season 1, starting with Episode 11. This was a pretty good episode. We get them bumming it, because, you know, they're hiding, and they're just kind of just a little bit of comedy here and there, a little bit of love triangle bullshit, kind of. Just a few things here and there said by Asami, but it's not... It's kind of weird because it's not even like a love triangle. It's not even like... I mean, it is a love triangle, but it's mainly just Asami keeps complaining about it. Mako is spending a lot of time with Korra, and, you know, Korra's spending a lot of time with him, and they have like this conversation together. But yeah, still not a fan of the love triangle stuff, but it's still, at least, at the very least, it's not getting an entire episode centered around it like it was before. Or, you know, in that first... in that first episode, episode like 5 or whatever, when they had like all that love triangle stuff in one episode, that to me was bullshit, but this is tolerable at the very least. Anyways, General Iroh comes in, but now all of a sudden there's just these airplanes that Sato invented, and then these airplanes fly in Nazi style and start bombing and shit. And it's a cool action scene. Korra does some badass shit with redirecting missiles and making ice spikes and stuff. It was badass, and they meet up with Iroh, and he goes where the bums are, and they devise a plan. They send a message to talk to Boomy, which is one of Tenzin's brothers. That's awesome. He's another general for the, what were they called? The United Forces, I believe, or something like that. And, yeah, so... That whole beginning action scene was pretty badass, but we later get Korra, and she basically decides, I have to fight Amon one-on-one. Let's do this. Fucking Shyamalan, let's go. This is what you get for The Last Airbender. And fucking what ends up happening is her and Mako go. And Mako still says he cares about Asami, and I'm like, you really don't act like it, dude. And it's just, But yeah, they end up going disguised, and yeah, there's going to be a rally at the arena for, like, you know, equalists and shit. They end up going into the attic at the air temple, and we see fucking Tarlok there. And Tarlok delivers the backstory, and my theory originally was maybe Tarlok is Amon in, like, you know, being like a what's it called? A councilman and everything, trying to manipulate things that way and kind of get people on the equalist side. My theory was not right, but it is his brother, which is interesting. And they talk about how their dad had facial surgery and he met a woman and they had a couple kids, and it's him and his brother. I forget the brother's name now, but I can just keep calling him Shyamalan, it's fine. But he tells a backstory about how they were taught bloodbending by their dad and he hated it, and Tarlok's painted as a really nice kid in this, and it's just like, you're a scumbag, dude. Like, you were a really nice kid, but you ended up being a scumbag, and it really doesn't make sense given the flashback. I mean, it kind of makes sense with his brother and everything, and how he fucked over their dad, and that was awesome, but like, this fucking Tarlok backstory, I mean, if it's supposed to make you feel sorry for him, I mean... kind of, but he's such an asshole that it's just like, I don't know, like, because again, there's no indication in the flashback that he's gonna end up like his dad, and he doesn't end up just like his dad, but still. Yeah, so it's pretty much, I guess this is the final thing. Their dad was born with the power to bloodbend without a full moon, and that's just his rare gift, and now they have that gift, which again, lazy explanation, but it also does explain why why Shyamalan was able to resist the bloodbending of Tarlok is because he fucking, what's it called? He can do it too. So as Tarlok was doing it to him, he could, you know, move. And we also find out, maybe I think I was thinking about saying this, but I haven't said it yet, but maybe I did. It seems that Amon takes away bending. I call him Amon and Shyamalan all the time. It seems he takes away bending by using bloodbending somehow. That needs further explanation, but I can buy it if it makes sense. But yeah, pretty cool episode. I still think it's weird that we got this backstory for Tarlok, and it's just like, dude, you're still an asshole. So I mean, like, yeah, sad backstory, but like, and another thing is like, not even just not feeling sympathy for him, but just the fact that it just doesn't add up to why he is such a sleazy scumbag when he used to be such a great kid. It just, I don't see it, you know. But, you know, whatever, it might get explained more. It's not the biggest deal ever. People change when they get older. We don't need to see his entire life story. But yeah, overall, I thought it was actually a very enjoyable episode. I'll give it like a 9 out of 10, honestly. I thought there was very good story progression and development. We pretty much know the identity of Amon now. Also, the fact that he's a bender, like, that's kind of hypocritical, but I mean, I guess it's not hypocritical. He doesn't bend. He might not like the fact that he is one and doesn't want them to exist anymore. So I suppose it's not hypocritical, but yeah, it's definitely just interesting insight into his character, insight into Tarlok's character. The beginning action scene was pretty awesome. My only criticisms are really just a little bit of love triangle stuff. You know, him being a kid and then being a scumbag when he's older doesn't quite add up, but that's a little bit more forgivable. And I kind of, this is a nitpick, and I'm not really calling this like a full-blown like criticism, but these planes look just like your normal planes. And what I loved about Avatar back in the day was that, and I know I shouldn't be comparing the two, but they would have so many creative ways of doing more modern technology. Like, the tanks the Fire Nation built didn't look like regular military tanks, and these ships that they came in on, the ships that the what's it called? The United Forces came in on, those don't look like normal, regular battleships, but these planes just look like normal World War II planes, and it's kind of boring. I wish there could be a little bit more creativity in some of these designs and just mimicking not modern day, but mimicking 40s technology, but that's a nitpick, not a big deal. Overall, I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. I thought it had really great character progression for Amon and Tarlok. That was great. The action scene was great. Little bits of comedy here and there, but I did have complaints. So maybe an 8.5 or like an 8.8. Yeah, I'll go around there, 8.8. And yeah, now I'll move on to the finale, episode 12. Okay, you guys, so episode 12, Endgame. Kind of a mixed episode, honestly. It had good action. The action was pretty great. It's just, there's certain things that just didn't make sense, but I guess I'll just summarize real quick and then just start talking about it. Just do a quick summary. We get Korra and Mako going there to expose him for what he truly is. You know, the whole firebending accident thing was bullshit. We see his scar, but I thought, oh, maybe he did the facial reconstruction surgery that his dad did. No, it was just makeup, but still. I figured that's what he did, because it's, you know, it was makeup, and I figured that's what his dad did, but it turned out to be not facial reconstruction. Well, whatever. But yeah, no one believes that Korra and Mako, so they get into this little fight. They kidnapped Tenzin and his family, and Korra just kind of says, no, wait, they got away. What the hell happened? And no real explanation on how they got caught, and it kind of makes Beifong's sacrifice kind of pointless, but whatever. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. The episode has bigger problems, I'll say that. But, anyway, what ends up happening is they get into this little fight, and they end up bailing out. They rescue the family, but they get into a fight with Amon. He's just bloodbending the shit out of him and fucking him over. He ends up taking away Korra's bending, which is the moment where I realized, fuck, it's not going to be permanent. There's no way she'll get it back, and there'll be a way to fix it, because when the main character loses it, there's no way. Something similar happened in One Piece during the... I mean, some people might not have seen One Piece, but I'll just say, in the Punk Hazard arc, a character gets... There's this big, deadly, super, you know, nation-destroying weapon, but when it affects a certain character, I was like, oh, okay, it's not as big of a threat, because this character will make it out of it, and... you know, it's basically the same thing here. The Avatar got her bending taken away, and then she learns airbending, and I was like, really? Like, they keep saying, oh, her bending's gone, but you have airbending, and it's like, that doesn't make any sense. But what they end up saying is that her connection to the other elements is severed. Basically, I guess he does something in the body, again, not explained properly, he does something in the body with the blood to make it so your connection to the element is gone. And her connection to those elements was gone, but she learned how to airbend. Like, most other benders wouldn't be able to get their bending back, but this was a new element that she was still connected to, and you'd think she'd be disconnected from air too, but since she never actually used it, I guess. Again, very clunky writing. It's messy. You know, it's not tightly done and well done. But she starts airbending, and it's not that great of a final battle between the two of them, and she blows him away, and he gets discovered, and he leaves. He's waterbending and everything. He goes over to Tarlock, and they want to leave. Now, this was the best part of the episode, in my opinion, and that's their possible deaths. Because he grabs the glove, and he says it's going to be just like old times, and he just blows up the boat that they're in, and they're dead. And it cuts to commercial, like, immediately. Like, as soon as that happened, it was like, boop, and then, you know, comes back, because there's no commercials when I watch it, but you could just tell where the commercial would have been, and that was probably because Nickelodeon was like, okay, you can do it, but we gotta cut to some, like, SpongeBob commercial or some shit immediately. And that's why I do think they're probably dead also, is that they cut so quickly after the explosion happened. But that was the best part of the episode to me. I thought the fighting with Iroh and you know, him in the planes was badass. He'd like some Iron Man flying and shit. And why did the statue of Aang have a giant mask of Amon on it? Like, they just had a giant Amon mask. Like, that's so weird. Like, I don't get that, but it was a cool little moment. You know, you're looking out for me, Aang. That was a cool little moment. Epic scene where Mako does lightning on fucking Amon. It was just a normal lightning blast, but just the way it shocked him and then the blast back, that was badass. And of course, the animation's amazing. I don't really mention how amazing the animation is in all my reviews anymore because it's pretty much standard of every single episode. But yeah, that was a badass little lightning blast from Mako. And her and Mako are together now, and I don't feel the chemistry between the characters. I could see Aang and Katara being together. I could see Korra and Bolin being together, but her and Mako, I don't see the chemistry really, and kind of a weak romance. But again, even though I said Korra and, or not Korra, Katara and, which we could see Katara again was cool, but Katara and Aang made sense, but it wasn't like the best romance ever. Like, they kind of had those cliches, you know, they have to argue or whatever, and maybe she'll end up with Zuko or something. Like they played with that a tiny bit here and there in the original Avatar, and romance has just never been a strong suit of the series, so it's not that big of a deal to me, but it is still a negative. And she did get her bending taken away except for air, and when she's at her lowest low, she becomes spiritual, and she meets Aang, and he gives back the bending. Very abrupt, very convenient. Very convenient that she was able to airbend as well. Just too many conveniences to a certain extent in this episode, and just overall it wasn't the best finale ever. You know, it wasn't even, like, I wouldn't even say it was good. It wasn't as good as any of the finales of the original Avatar, and I'm not saying it had to be as good as any of those finales. I'm just saying it's just, like, they're not even the final fight with Amon was that good. And she just airbended him a few times and it was over, and yeah, and apparently he's dead, so, you know, and like I said, this is a mini-series. I understand that they had to get a lot done in 12 episodes, certain things had to be rushed, but I still think there could have been better explanation for certain things. Oh, and she has the power to undo the bending thing, so she'll probably heal a bunch of people that used to be benders, and that's good. That's cool. I guess Aang gave her that power, because I mean, I think Aang got the power to take away bending from the Turtle Island lion tiger thing, right? I think he touched Aang and then he had that. I'm not sure, but if he did touch Aang to give him that ability or unlock that ability, then you could just say Aang did the same thing for her. So I mean, you kind of have to make up your own answer to a certain extent, though not completely. You can use the context of the series to come up with your answer, but there's no definitive explanation really, and I really think that's disappointing. But it's not a bad episode by any means. The story progression is obviously massive. Amon's done. The Equalists are done. They finished that. We got to see Boomy for a second. That was cool. But yeah, and they're like, oh, Uncle's here. And he's like a wild guy, kind of like the person he's named after. But yeah, it was just kind of a disappointing finale, but it wasn't a terrible episode. I'll go 8 out of 10. It was maybe a 7.5. No, because 7.5 is like my good score. Like 7 to 7.5 is like a good. This was above a good, but it was still kind of messy. So I don't know. It's probably the episode I've complained the most about, but that's only because it's the finale. Yeah, I think I'll go like 7.8. Put it in the middle. Like a 7.8 episode of The Legend of Korra. And that's sad, because it is the finale, and you'd want the finale to be really, really epic, but we'll see. Season 2 is the season I've heard the most negative things about, and we're about to dive into Season 2, so that should be interesting. We'll see how things go. I can now judge Korra as a actual full series. It's not a mini-series anymore. If something seems rushed, I'll say it's really rushed because it's not a mini-series anymore. You could have taken more time, and if something is, you know, I can judge the series differently now that it's not a self-contained thing anymore. It has like 3 seasons. You know, it's going to have season 2, 3, and then there's going to be 4 coming out pretty soon. So, but yeah, a 7.8 episode, kind of disappointing, like I said, but it was enjoyable. The action was still really fun. I thought that blast from Mako to fucking Amon was really awesome. But yeah, and the death was great too, if it is a death. We'll see. I mean, they might bring him back as Nickelodeon, but we'll see. If they did die, that's pretty damn badass. Especially since they let them get away with that. But yeah, overall, it was not the greatest finale ever. But, you know, it is what it is. Which I don't like saying, but I said it. Whatever. I don't know, because saying it is what it is, it's just like, yeah, it is what it is. You're not saying anything when you say that. But whatever. Anyway, I'm rambling. It was a good episode. Could have been better. Should have probably been better, but, you know. So anyways, 7.8. Thanks for watching this video. Tell me what you guys thought of this episode of The Legend of Korra. Tell me what you guys thought of the overall season. I still think the overall season's actually pretty great. We'll see how Season 2 fares, but I think it's a great season. I think it's a great show. Just a slightly weaker finale than the rest of the show. Oh, and what's her name? Asumi and her dad had a great confrontation because, and Bolin was cool there too, just because her character just felt like she was only there for the love triangle. It was only the stuff with her dad that really made her feel like a developed character that's part of the story. And this episode really brought that to the forefront, so that was great too. But anyways, like I was saying, that part was actually, that was pretty good. You know, 8, well fuck it, 8 out of 10. It was a good plus episode. It was above good, not quite great. It was an 8 out of 10. Because I would consider like an 8.5 to a 9. Like I don't know how my scale goes, but fuck it. 8 out of 10. Really good episode. Could have been a lot better, but you know. So anyways, thanks for watching this video. Tell me what you guys thought of these episodes in the comments below. Tell me what you guys thought of the overall first season of Korra. And I will talk to you guys later in Season 2. Bye.